Hello and welcome to Twerk, a space where you can hear and read about some amazing people, the fantastic jobs they do, and the paths that led them to where they are today. I'm here with Abby. Hi, Abby.
Hello, good morning.
Could you tell the listener what it is you do for a living?
So I am a professional organiser.
Amazing! Okay, before we go too far into that, because I do want to go into that, because I've also used one. So I have my own experiences, which was amazing, I'm just going to say. Let's chat back and we'll talk about little Abby.
Okay.
What were you like, what were you into when you were younger?
My family, we had a family business actually. And that was very much part of our family life because it was residential. So we ran a working holiday farm camp for foreign students.
Stop it.
So it was
that in
really,
itself is quite specialist,
which is really
isn't it?
different, yeah.
And had your parents set that up from scratch?
My
or
dad,
was it...
my dad set that up.
Oh my God, I always need to pod your dad, don't I?
So he worked for another company first, just as a summer thing for a month, during his police cadetship.
Oh.
But he completely fell in love with these farm camps, meeting people from all over the world. And he always described it as his Damascene moment.
Yeah.
He saw the world in a different light. He finished his police cadetship, but knew he wasn't going to be a policeman.
But he finished it.
To get the certificate. And then he went and worked for this company called Concordia, who had farm camps all over the UK. And they would send him up to Scotland for a month to do the raspberry harvest. Then he might go to Kent for a month for the hops. And he would basically go in...
As a young man,
look after the foreign students.
Life.
So he would cook food for them, drive them to the farms. Sometimes he'd stay and work with them on the farms, teach them a bit of English, and have a bit of social activity with them.
Wow.
And so when I was 2, we went to a camp in Cambridgeshire, which we ran, and we were there for 10 years.
Oh.
So basically my dad would go over in April from, it's about 60 miles away from Norwich where we lived.
Yeah.
And then from the May half-term holiday, he'd come back and we'd pack up, my parents, 3 kids, the dog, the guinea pig, and we would move to the camp from May. My brother, sister and I would go to the local primary school. So they thought we were gypsies because we would just go for 6 weeks a year to the local school. And then
that was okay. There was I don't even know if you could do that now, actually.
Yeah, it was completely fine. It was just
but I guess equally it's a bit of consistency for you because you're doing it every year, were you?
Exactly, yeah. So we went to the same camp. It was very basic. It was, no central heating.
But it's summer, I guess. So,
it's summer, yes. Yeah. Summer, and we were then there for the whole summer holidays. My mum would bring us back to Norwich in September to start the new school year at our main school. And then Dad would be there till the end of October. And then when I was 12, we had to vacate that property because we didn't own it. And my dad was asked to go and manage another camp in Cambridgeshire again. But Dad said, no, I'm not going to manage it, but I'll buy it from you.
Right.
So that's what he did. He bought it. And that one was really interesting because it was actually an old prisoner of war camp. And it had all the old barracks and, the kitchens and everything. And that was much bigger. It was a 12-acre site. And we could accommodate... Well, one year we peaked at about 600 students there.
Wow.
So, which was too full, to be honest. But...
Oh my gosh.
So then I worked, as a through my teens.
So from 12 till when you left home?
Yeah.
You were then in Cambridge. So at this point you moved to Cambridge, you just fully...
Yeah, from when I was about 16, 17, I moved and I lived at the camp full-time. I worked there full-time.
Yeah.
Whereas before that I'd worked in the summer holidays.
Right.
Friends of mine from Norwich would come and stay for a month.
Yeah.
And they'd work there as well. So we would do cleaning, there was a little shop, a bit of bar work, a bit in the kitchens.
Oh my God, you were that cool friend.
It was great.
Yeah.
It was really good.
So what did you go on to do then? Did you go to college?
Well, I started college.
Yeah.
Didn't really know, because I always wanted to take over the family business.
Yeah.
So I just had that in mind. So I wasn't really thinking.
And back then you didn't have to stay in education, did you? You could leave at 16.
Yeah. So, but I did. I went to City College in Norwich. and I chose English, sociology, and psychology because
Ah.
I really like people.
Yeah.
Basically, I think again because growing up, meeting all these different people was really interesting. So I did about a term, I think, and then packed it in.
Wow.
And so I never did A-levels
Fair enough.
at all. So I went to work at the camp full time.
Yeah.
So I pretty much left home at sort of 17, although I moved to the camp, so
Yes.
it wasn't kind of like completely going out into
Home
the
away
wide.
from home, yeah.
Yes, yeah. And absolutely loved working at the camp. And then probably, I think, by the time I got to my early mid-20s, I was starting to get a bit tired of the lifestyle at the camp.
Oh.
Just because it was, when you're there, it's 7 days a week through the whole season.
Yeah.
You know, so you didn't get much free time. You also had to live on site.
Yeah.
And so you had to kind of be on call 24 hours a day because you've got, like in a hotel, you've got people staying there the whole time.
Yeah.
And things might happen in the middle of the night and you've got to get up and deal with it.
Yeah.
And it's quite fun, when you're young, it's a bit exciting. But after a while, you just think, I just want a weekend where I don't have to do anything.
But also, you've been doing it for a long time at this point, even as a child. So what you're talking about is then still probably like almost like a 20-year career in some respects.
In some ways, I guess. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to do something else. So I moved back to Norwich, rented a house, and I went back to City College to do a course. And I did it in health and social care because, again, I wanted to work with people.
Yes.
I wanted to kind of help people in some way.
Yeah.
I wasn't really quite sure what I wanted to do. So that was good. And I worked part-time, studied part-time.
Okay.
I got a couple of the students who'd been at the camp. It was a Macedonian girl and a Latvian girl. They came and lodged with me. In my house, and they got jobs in Norwich as well. So that was good fun. And then during that time, I met my partner, who I then had children with.
Right.
Although he was from Norfolk, but he lived in London.
Right.
So then I spent about a year,
travelling between London
at weekends, to London and stuff.
And is this while you were still studying?
Yes.
Or,
yeah.
Wow. So then what? Yeah.
So then I decided to move to London.
Yeah.
So I did that and still didn't quite know what I wanted to do. So then I decided to become a massage therapist.
Wow, okay.
So I did some training in London.
Yeah.
An amazing school run by, she was quite a well-known massage therapist in that world called Claire Maxwell Hudson. She's written quite a few books on massage.
Okay, so you went high then. You went high with this.
I looked at about 3 or 4 different massage schools.
I want to go in and do this at a really
I want to
high
have
level.
proper training with someone who I really admire.
Yeah.
And
also it's smart because then you've got that. So you can say you're trained by her. You'll get the,
exactly.
You'll get
it was really good. And one of the things I really liked about her school, which none of the other schools did, was that you got the chance to do a clinical placement as part of the course.
Yeah.
Which was the only one that offered that opportunity.
Wow, okay.
So we could choose. There were things like you could go to the Royal Marsden Hospital and do, massage patients there. You could go to the Royal Free Hospital on the cardiac ward, because she'd done a lot of connecting with surgeons to massage patients before and after surgery to help with their recovery.
God, I bet that doesn't happen
and
now,
they found
does it?
It worked.
Of course it bloody works.
So...
and that doesn't happen now, does it? I bet it doesn't.
I'm not sure actually, but she was involved for a number of years, and the surgeons were so impressed, they asked her to train the nurses on the board so the nurses could massage the patients. So I chose to go to St Mary's Hospital in Paddington, which was actually quite close to where I lived.
Yeah.
And it was on the neonatal unit.
Is this St Mary's? Is that where Kate Middleton was? That?
Yes,
it is, isn't it? It's the Lindo wing and all that kind of stuff, isn't it? For anyone that's seen Kate coming out with her babies. Well, that's the Lindo wing, but that is
the Lindo wing, but it's part of St Mary's.
Yeah.
So I was going in to massage mums whose babies were in intensive care in NICU in the hospital, and also some of the nurses who worked on that unit. 'Cause obviously, really highly stressful job.
Yes, yeah.
And the lady who was the sort of coordinator between the massage school and the hospital, she was a nurse herself, a NICU nurse. And so I spoke to her, and I saw her teaching parents how to do, they call it positive touch rather than massage, but the babies that were in the incubators, absolutely teeny tiny little things, and she was teaching the parents how to do positive touch on them to help with the bonding process.
Wow.
So I was fascinated by that. And while I was massaging the mums and the nurses, but I kept talking to this lady, Cherry Bond, and she told me about, she'd done a huge scientific study on postnatal depression and how positive touch
And she was a nurse.
was helping. She was a nurse.
She was just not like this, but she was just a random nurse
Yeah.
that you came across.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was just, amazed by her story. And I think probably because I had been in NICU when I was a baby and spent 2
how
weeks in an
interesting,
incubator.
yeah.
And of course, talking to my mum then about it, she said she couldn't touch me for 2 weeks.
No.
So,
So you weren't touched for 2 weeks?
No, not by my mum, just,
By gloved
nurses, I guess.
yeah.
Sticking tubes in. So then I went on to do training for baby massage instructor.
Yes.
So I've sort of found my niche in the massage because I just thought there's so many different. You can do lymphatic drainage massage, you can do sports massage, or aromatherapy and all that kind of thing. So I trained in pregnancy massage, postnatal massage, and teaching infant massage.
But you hadn't got any children at this point?
No, didn't have any children. I had a stepson who was about 10 at the time.
So you were in your what, like
20s,
mid to late 20s?
Mid to late 20s, yeah. And then I decided that I didn't want to have my children in London.
So you'd got them at this point, or you hadn't?
I hadn't.
Right.
I hadn't had them, but it was on the cards. I wanted to have children.
Yeah.
My partner already had a son, and seeing how his childhood differentiated so much from mine.
Yeah.
Living in London, he had to be driven everywhere.
Yeah.
None of his friends lived within walking distance. Not having we didn't have a garden, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I thought, I don't actually want my kids to grow up in this environment. And I loved, obviously, my childhood with the camp experience, but Norwich is a great city for raising
Well, also,
family.
it had now been a good amount of time that you'd been gone.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing some wounds had been healed a little bit as well.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Yeah, so I was ready
to come back.
I think, I was sort of tentative about it.
Yeah.
So I came back and had to set up my massage practice from scratch in Norwich, as a mobile therapist again. But luckily for me, there wasn't really many other people doing what I did in Norwich at that time.
Okay.
Very few people were doing pregnancy massage. There were a handful of baby massage instructors, but not all of them were even running classes at that moment.
Yeah.
So I actually, it went off really easily. I got a lot of clients easily.
Yeah.
So my son was born in 2009.
Okay.
Yeah, so of course he was probably the most blissed out massage baby ever.
Yeah.
And he still loves it, and he's actually really good at giving a massage as well. I've trained him.
Yes, yeah, brilliant.
And my daughter was born 2 years later. I separated from the kids' dad when they were 4 and 6.
Yeah.
And moved. That was a really tough time, actually. That was really... anyone that's gone through a breakup when you've got children, it's really tough.
Oh, yeah.
And quite financially insecure time for me as well.
Of course.
Because
women are left so vulnerable.
And we weren't married either.
Right.
So it meant I was not entitled to anything apart from child maintenance. So when I left, I literally...
And obviously it's down to you if I include this or not, but he didn't even honour anything. He didn't even...
No.
Oh,
not at all. So he stayed in the big family house, and the kids and I moved out into a rented house that actually belonged to a friend of mine, luckily. So she charged me slightly cheaper rent.
Yeah.
And so then I was your typical single mum on benefits.
Yes.
And I got a lodger in as well to help. With lovely Spanish girl. And I charged her quite a cheap rent so she could babysit as well.
Yes.
She was fantastic with the kids and they absolutely loved her.
Wow.
So she lived with us for the first year. And basically, I was on my own for 5 years, the kids and I,
Wow.
in that house. Luckily, it actually had a spare room downstairs, so I could use that for treatments.
Okay, so you did pick that back up. You
I did pick it back up then. I didn't do much mobile work then because I had the room at home.
Yeah.
I had 1 or 2 clients that I would still go to. So I would work during school hours and then get the kids into bed by 7 o'clock and see clients in the evenings as well. And the kids were amazing. They knew they had to be completely silent.
Wow.
They couldn't bother me until I came out of the massage. And they were great. And got some lovely clients. Some of my old clients came back and then new clients, and really enjoyed it. But then I'd probably been about nearly 20 years from when I first qualified as a massage therapist.
Yeah.
And I was starting to feel the effects physically.
Yes.
My wrists really were. So I had to cut down the number of clients I saw per week.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'd be paying for it the following day if I did too many in one day. And it was around that time that I discovered professional organising in people's houses.
How did you discover it? Is it just chatting to someone? What?
I think I heard about Marie Kondo.
Right.
And I had already got her book, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying.
Yes. Yeah.
Because people always say to me, oh, I bet your house is really perfect and neat and tidy. Or they say, oh, have you always been really neat and tidy? And the truth is, no, I haven't. And I'm still not Little Miss Tidy either.
Because life.
We've got, busy house.
Yeah.
And I much prefer it when it is tidy and organised. But there have been times in my life where I've definitely had too much stuff. And I've had to declutter quite a lot, especially when the kids and I moved into our rented house.
Yeah.
And they were both quite young, so we had all the kids' paraphernalia.
Yeah.
And that you keep stuff to hand down to the next one. So I felt extremely overwhelmed at that time with all the stress, obviously, of the circumstances I was in. But having all this stuff as well, and the time and energy by myself to go through it. And
it's a mental thing as well, isn't
hugely.
it? It's like, I feel that.
Yeah. And it really affected my mental health, actually. I felt very low, very overwhelmed, and just couldn't kind of see the wood for the trees through it all. So I bought Marie Kondo's book to kind of help me get into the frame of mind. And I actually suggested a friend of mine who she also struggled with too much clutter in her house. Kids the same age. Her husband worked really long hours, so she felt it was all down to her to sort it out. So we actually did a couple of days helping each other out. I said, why don't we do this together? You come to my house one day, because it's a bit embarrassing, getting someone else to come in. But because we both felt the same about our own situations, I said, why don't we do it together? You come to my house for a day. Yeah. And we'll have lunch, I'll cook lunch. And you help me with this. And then one day the next week, I'll come to your house and we'll do it there.
Yes. Yeah.
So we actually had a lovely day together because, you don't get time to hang out with your friend for a whole day. So
and then productive time as well.
So we had a brilliant catch up with each other.
Was alcohol involved?
No alcohol wasn't, but we had to do the school run at the end of the day.
Of course.
Yeah. So we had lots of tea though.
and toilet trips.
Yeah. And we had a laugh. We took the piss out of each other for what are you keeping this? What the hell have you got this for? So it made it a lighter experience for us both, instead of feeling oh god or embarrassed or and I loved that, and it felt amazing. When we did the cupboard on the coat and shoe cupboard in my house was one of the things we did. So every time I opened it, I just had this feeling of
mine looks like that,
pleasure. It's like this is great, and vice versa, the same for her. So I kind of started looking into it. Then. Also, around that time, I met my now partner. And he was divorced, got 2 children, similar ages to mine. And every time I went to his house, it was so neat and tidy because his kids didn't live with him. You know, they'd come and
course,
stay, so he didn't
yes.
have all the kids' stuff, and he's a neat and tidy person
Yeah.
as well. So, and I was just thinking, oh crikey, this is so nice. You
Yeah.
know? And I would feel a bit, oh God, you know, what's he going to think about my house and all that kind of thing.
Oh.
Then fast forward a year later, we actually bought this house
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
And so we had to move 2 houses into one.
Yeah.
And that was, as you'd imagine, a massive job because we just had double of
Of
everything.
everything. Yes.
You know, down to your cutlery, to big furniture like
Yeah,
sofas and, you
yeah.
know, everything. So, of course, we had to
Decide.
decide, right, what ones are we going to keep? So, I mean, it was really exciting because, you know, we were buying a house together, you know, and
Yeah.
I'd never been on a mortgage before. So it was, you know,
yes.
I was quite old, in my 40s.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it was really exciting for me. And to move in together, it was
Yeah.
great.
Well, having been on your own for a while as well, it
Yeah,
must have
it
felt...
was really lovely. Yeah. So that was a really good experience to cull a lot of our stuff.
Yeah.
And it was still an ongoing process once we moved in, you know.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it isn't always an ongoing
it
process,
always is,
really.
yeah. It never stops, does it? Because you've always got
We
more stuff
always
coming
acquire-
into your
yeah.
house, so you've always got to have stuff going out. So, yeah, around that time I just started researching and looking into, and I think there might have been 1 or 2 TV programmes starting at that time, like
There was.
Sort Your Life Out,
Yes.
Stacey Solomon
Yeah,
presents.
yeah.
So, yeah, I started looking. I found an organisation called the Association of Professional Declutterers and Organisers.
Wow.
Who knew there was such a thing?
Wow. Other people, now you've just said it.
Yeah, and so they have, they do training. So then
Yeah.
I did some online training with them because it was still COVID
COVID-y,
kind
yeah.
of times. So I did a few days online with them, with a small group of women. And that was great because a lot of their training was about hoarding issues.
Right, yeah.
So that was really in-depth.
Sort of the psychological.
Yeah, and, you know, what people are feeling, why they hold on to things, why they find it difficult to...
Which obviously you would have really interested you.
Yeah, because again, it's the whole psychology part, which I really like. And they were really more about the psychological, mental health aspect.
Well, it is.
Yeah.
It is all fundamentally linked, isn't it?
So that was really good training. I became a member then of APTO. They've got a national database as well of trained members, so that, you know, wherever you are, you can find your local one and get in touch with them if you need somebody. And then I really got into watching Stacey Solomon's programme, Sort Your Life Out, on BBC One, and they have a professional organiser on that programme called Dilly Carter.
Yeah.
And I just loved her. I thought she was absolutely brilliant. Started following her on Instagram, and then she decided to launch training herself.
Yeah.
So I did training with Dilly. I was on the first team of 12 women to do her online training. So it was a 12-week course. We did one evening a week on like a Zoom call.
Yeah.
And then each week we had to, you know, practice on a kitchen. So I had to rope in lots of my friends. Can I come round and sort out your kitchen?
Oh, no,
your bathroom,
no, that's so
your playroom.
awful.
Yeah.
They just got a load of freebies out of it, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. So
Damn it, I need a friend like that.
and then as part of that course, very much like my massage teacher who wanted you to go and do a placement, you know, clinical placement, Dilly wanted us to go and help her on a job.
Right.
So we could actually meet her.
Yeah.
We could work together, like there'd be a team of us, you know, doing like a whole house in a day or something like that. And I went to Stacey Solomon's house in Essex with a team of others, and we went and sorted out Stacey Solomon's house. And this was just before she got married.
Wow.
Because she got married at the reception, I think, was in her garden.
Okay, so she wanted it all...
And she wanted it all spruced up for that.
because they probably they probably sold all the pictures and stuff, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But when you see the pleasure, you know, that they get at the end, the relief, you know, now they walk into their house and it's, you know, all neat and tidy. You know, everything is in the right place. They can find things. And they can actually enjoy being in their houses.
And be proud of it.
And be proud of it. Invite people around. Yeah, because it's really sad when you hear people that, don't have anyone round because I'm
No.
too embarrassed.
Yeah.
And that
And it's
makes
more
me
common
feel
than people
so sad.
think.
It really is, yeah. Really is.
Okay, so how long ago was that now then? A couple of years ago?
So that was 2.5 years ago, yeah.
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 Wow.
Yeah.
So how's it gone since then?
Yeah, pretty good. I mean, it's tough, obviously, because it's an expense
Yeah.
for people that, you know, you have to really, really want me to come and do it, you know. But I think people get to the point where they've tried so many times to do it themselves and haven't got far enough. They've managed some.
Do people know though? Because I guess I can remember when I did it. Sorry, that was the chair, not. When I did it, it was we were trying to sell our house. So that was, I guess, for me. We were trying to sell the house, and we had got so much. My ex-husband was a massive hoarder. We'd got so much stuff, but also I'd got into. I guess I'd felt like it's weird, isn't it? How by association you end up not throwing stuff away because you're in this habit of, well, we don't throw stuff away in this house. So I found a lady and she came, and it was, we don't get me wrong, I mean, even from, I say my bedroom, it was our bedroom, but my bedroom because the wardrobes are in there. I just remember that we had quite a long corridor that went out of it. They were just bin bags or her bags, whatever they were. So different. I think she had different bags for different things. Full, and bearing in mind I still had a full wardrobe at the end of it.
You know, a professional organizer will come in and they'll ask questions like, so how does this work? How do your family, you know, on a weekly basis, you know, have your kids got lots of clubs they go to, and do they need special clothes or kit for those?
Yeah.
Right, so we need to put those in a place that is easy for them to find.
Yeah.
Things like that, so that it just flows.
But it's
easily.
even offering up those storage solutions as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like going, okay, I remember getting like a sort of this little area that we set up in the front porch for all the kit, like you say, for the kid. But I, you know, because even that can be so overwhelming because you're confronted with a load of stuff that, yes, some of it can go, but equally then, I guess if you're in, like I was in that real, like I'm quite a creative person, but I couldn't think creatively about any of it because I was in such a dark place with it all.
But lots of people don't have that way of thinking about things.
No.
You know, lots of creative people or people with ADHD don't have the mind to work through. I mean, I was working with a client recently and they're moving house. They've sold the house already, but she didn't want to move. They're slightly downsizing and she didn't want to move a load of crap with her.
Yeah.
And as you know, we're having lots of conversation. We were doing it together because obviously she had to make the decisions on what she wanted to let go of.
Yeah.
And we were talking about laundry, and I said, she asked me, do you like doing it? And I said, actually, that's one of my favourite jobs to do because it's really straightforward. You've got the dirty clothes, you wash them, you hang them out to dry, you fold them, you put them away. So it's from start to finish, it seems like a straight line to me.
Yeah.
But she said, oh, I wish my brain worked like that.
It's a connecting the dots together, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And there's so many ways, you know, I mean, it can save you money. If you get a professional organiser in, then you can see, you know, they'll show you how many duplicates you've got of the same thing.
I know.
And you probably didn't realise because you
just
couldn't
keep
find
buying them. Yeah, you just keep buying them.
Yeah, or you've got so many clothes crammed in your wardrobe, you can't see what you've got.
Well,
so then you go and
me.
buy the same thing again. Or food in your cupboard, you know, you can't see what you've got, or you don't sit down properly and do a proper
the
list.
amount of double herbs.
Yeah, exactly.
I own.
When I do kitchens, the amount of
herbs
that people have, and especially ones that are extremely out of date as well.
Yes, I know.
You know, yeah. So
my God.
So once you've gone through that, you can save money on your grocery shopping.
I could probably buy myself a nice bottle of champagne out of all the extra herbs I've got.
That's quite a collection.
I've just funded a nice bottle of champagne by buying so many herbs.
That's it, you know. And and clothes. And obviously some people will then, like when I'm, say, doing a wardrobe, you know, they'll say, right, I don't want that anymore. One of the things I do is take everything away to the charity shop for them because that's another thing. I think everybody knows about driving around with a bag of charity stuff in the boot of your car for months on end.
But it's also knowing, isn't it? So like the lady I used, obviously because you weren't doing it then actually, but she was very much, well, she said she did, I'm getting hoping she did. Like she had like, well, no, I know I don't know, a charity that take this, and I know a charity that take that. So it was quite, nice. Whether that was just BS to get me to do it, which even if it was, is still quite clever BS. But it's kind of like, it was almost like made me feel like, oh yeah, okay, so a special teddy bear. But do you know what I mean? Charity that take teddy bears or something like that. I don't know. It's that kind of thing, isn't it, that actually helps the psychological process.
It does, and especially I was talking to a lady yesterday, and her daughter has got her birthday coming up before Christmas, and then obviously Christmas.
Yeah.
And, her daughter's bedroom is one of the rooms that we're going to sort out. And, she had a lot of toys, as lots of children do these days. And I said, well, it's great to do it before Christmas, before her birthday, because you know what's going to happen. She's going to get more stuff coming in.
Yeah.
And then it's going to be harder to sort because it's going to be even more overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I also saw something on social media yesterday about that a charity shop was saying, please declutter your children's toys before Christmas, not after.
Because they get overwhelmed.
Because they get overwhelmed in the new year, but they also don't have enough. There's a lot of families coming in to buy their own children Christmas presents from charity shops because they can't afford to buy them brand new.
Right. Obviously, I've waffled on and on about the mental health benefits I receive from it. Is there anything else you would like to, people to know about what you do?
Yeah, I think as we've covered, the mental health aspect is huge, and it gives me a lot of pleasure when I see a client at the end of the job, and I can see, the weight lifted off their shoulders, stress gone from their faces. That's incredibly rewarding. I've covered a little bit the financial aspect. You can actually save money. It's an investment.
That is true.
But it will save you money in the long run.
I don't think it's as expensive as people think.
No, it's not really.
It's almost like you could book you for like a day, couldn't you? And then you do certain... They don't have to come in. It's not an all or nothing thing. They don't have to do the whole house, do they?
I mean, like I come in, I'll do a minimum time is 3 hours.
Yeah.
So you can just book me to come and sort out...
A room,
or...
See how you feel about it.
A cupboard or two, if there's something that's driving you mad. So you can pick and choose what sort of hotspots you're stuck on, or something that you find difficult.
Do you know what, actually? Do you do gift vouchers?
I do, yeah. So again, it's another...
Oh my God, I would love that.
Yeah.
For anyone out there.
Yeah, rather than someone buying you presents that you don't really want, it's more clutter coming in your house.
Bloody husbands buy... Actually, this is so... The feminist in me is getting cross, but I'm just going to say it because actually I would have loved this. Like, buy your... For like the birthday or Christmas, a voucher with you, or someone near you, obviously, but... Because that is a great gift.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're giving them the gift of time and mental health.
Yeah, and one of my little catchphrases on my
You need to do a whole social thing pre-Christmas.
Yeah, is creating calm spaces.
Yeah.
Because for me, your home is your sanctuary. It should be your sanctuary.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, it's not. It's a cause of stress. It causes arguments in families when there's too much stuff. The amount of time that's wasted looking for things that you can't find.
It could be spent more productively.
Yeah, exactly. So there's so many aspects of it benefiting you to invest in it. And even if you can't, there's, I'm about to launch in the next few months online courses as well. So if you couldn't afford to have someone come in and do it for you, then you can be guided through doing it yourself. With, sort of direct assistance, and accountability, and you get homework and, things like that. And there's already other professional organisers doing it online. So that's a slightly cheaper option. Or, you get in a friend like I did.
Imagine, you won't want to do it because like you say, it's literally you go in, declutter someone's house. They come in and it's like, oh my God, it's amazing. And then you give them a massage.
I know, a couple of friends had suggested that to me.
Bloody do it. That's like the best day of that would be the best day of my life. Do you know what I mean? Like coming in and then there's just this massage table there and I'm like, oh my God, this is just like heaven.
Would be bliss, wouldn't it? Maybe I should team up with another massage therapist and get them to come in after me.
Because they could massage while you're decluttering in a room.
There we are. What a day.
You could come out of your massage stuff. I mean, that is a real indulgence, but how
what
good
a great
would you
birthday
feel?
present.
Great
Yeah.
present, but equally, how good would you feel after that? So not only have you taken care of yourself, you come out and your room nemesis
Yeah.
looks different.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is a great day.
Amazing.
Okay, brilliant. I'll expect to see that so I can
Start marketing that now. Yeah.
Okay, right. So, one of the questions I always ask is what's next? But I guess, well, we've already discussed what's next. Massaging and... but really, you're just going to just go where this takes you, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting some really great clients at the moment and a real spectrum, from footballers at Norwich City Football Club, their wives and girlfriends getting me in to sort out their wardrobes, to I've also been working with Norfolk County Council and social workers with families that they're helping.
Yeah.
Which is, they're both, I love both the extremes of those jobs, because they're completely different.
Yeah.
And that's what I love of the variety of my job.
Yeah.
But as I touched on, I'm hoping to launch in the next few months online courses as well.
Yeah.
So I can reach more people.
And you do travel, don't you?
I do. I cover the whole of Norfolk. I'm
Yeah.
based in Norwich,
Yeah.
but I do cover Norfolk.
Yeah.
I, could go a little bit over the border if it wasn't, if it was a big enough job
Yes.
for me to go to.
Well,
do.
yeah, like you say, if
But,
someone needed to book you for 2 days,
or
2 or
do
3
that.
days, you could go and do that.
I'll do help with house moves as well. So either
stage.
decluttering and staging your house before you get the pictures done.
Yeah.
But also helping unpacking once you've moved as well. Because how many of us, have boxes for months and months?
Yeah.
I mean, I've been to some houses and it's been years. They haven't literally unpacked some boxes from the last move.
Yeah, or the garage.
Yeah,
It's full
and in
of
the garage. Yeah, things like that. So that's one area I suppose I'm going to start pushing more as well. House move unpacking, and if you just tie that into your cost of moving house, it's so helpful.
Right, my 3 final questions.
Okay.
Is there any life advice you would give your younger self? It could be any version of your younger self. But what do you think she could have done with knowing?
I think it's something that I've been really honing in on for myself recently, actually, is trusting your intuition.
Yes.
So I think
Trust your gut.
Trust your gut.
Comes up a lot.
Yeah. And I think there's lots of times when I look back in my life where I didn't.
Yeah, even though it was really obvious your gut was trying to tell you it.
And with hindsight, I look back and think, why did I not do that? Or why did I make that decision?
Yeah.
Because I kind of knew deep down what I should have done.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's part of the learning process, obviously, to make mistakes. But yeah, I'm finding now that, I'm approaching 50 and I am really trusting my gut.
Yeah.
And it feels really good.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm making good decisions.
Same. Second question is, do you think there's any life advice that your older self would give you right now? So with 20 years, so if you're nearly 50, let's say 70-year-old Abby, what do you think she would
that's a
look
tricky
back
one.
and say to you now? Which, let's be honest about it, is still you in a voice.
Absolutely, it is, isn't it?
So what's your mature inner voice telling you that you should be doing differently now, or could be giving you a pat on the back?
I think I'd probably have a bit of a pat on the back because, I've had a tricky few years and I think I'm coming out of it quite nicely. I suppose just keep going on this path that I'm on.
Yeah.
And to really, I think, make time for the important people in my life. I think, I've had a couple of family losses in the last couple of years. And so, people can be gone in a moment.
Yeah.
And you take people for granted. So I think, to really
spend the time while you've got it.
The time with people that you want to, because it's easy to think, I'll arrange to see them next week. I'm really busy. I'll check my diary. I haven't got any dates I could see you, but make that time. That's really important. And that's something I'm still working on.
Yeah. Fair enough. And then the final question is always, is there any mantras or bits of advice or sayings that you just live by?
There is, and it's funny, I've been talking about it quite a lot in the last week. So it's something my dad always said to me, He sadly died 2.5 years ago.
Oh, did he?
And he and I were extremely close. We got on really, really well. Lovely man. And he always said to me, when you look at yourself in the mirror, you know whether you've done the right thing or not. So it's always about holding yourself up,
accountable,
being accountable for your actions. To yourself, because you might be able to fob someone else off, if you've done the wrong thing, or just keep quiet, but when you actually look at yourself in the mirror, you know if you've done the wrong thing or the right thing, or if you could have done something a bit better, and I always think of that. Always. I tell my kids it. They're probably sick of hearing me say it, but
yeah. Thank you very much, Abby.
Thank you.
If you would like to hear more about this chat, see some pics and read about how to get started in this industry and/or this role, then please go to our website www.twerk.org. The link is in this podcast page and across our socials. Sincere thanks.